Okay, we begin with a live look at the ICE building in South Portland tonight. There are a dozen or so demonstrators in costume. There's music and occasional dancing, while federal agents are watching from the roof of the building. Oregon leaders and frankly many across the nation waiting with bated breath for a ruling from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals to determine if the National Guard can be deployed to Portland. That ruling is expected any time now. Meanwhile, the rhetoric surrounding the city of Portland among our country's leaders in D.C. continues. We have all of that to get to and more. But first, I was outside the ICE building for several hours today, talking with immigrant rights advocates who have been there daily, along with the protesters dressed in costumes, spreading a message of their own. It's Friday morning outside the ICE building in South Portland.
What I wanted to do through this was an act of defiance, using classical music as a form of resistance.
Sus derechos. Know your rights.
For another day.
So we do Monday through Friday, 8 to 12.
Immigrant rights advocates wait outside the entrance, where up to roughly 12 immigrants a day go inside for annual check-ins.
We are seeing families separated.
This volunteer, who didn't want to share her name, tells me if an immigrant doesn't come out of the ICE building within 2 hours, she calls their emergency contact and legal partners.
It's really critical that we try to get assistance as fast as possible because this is a processing center and it's a place that they have to be processed before they're sent to a detention center, so Tacoma. So this is one of the points where we have the strongest opportunity to advocate for their release, which is why we're here.
Meanwhile,
I'm out here trying to, make people feel less stressed out.
People dress in costumes to spread their message.
I'm the cow here to support immigrants against cowards.
It doesn't look like it's a war-ravaged Portland like Trump says.
He admits the tone shifts at night.
Like more yelling, more agitated.
Last night, Portland police arrested 2 people connected to the protests and booked them in the Multnomah County Jail, one for harassment and the other, 36-year-old Thomas Allen, on an outstanding warrant. Portland police say they've arrested Allen 3 times at the protests. We talked with him Monday.
I got arrested last night. I got arrested 2 nights before that. We're the first ones to go to jail. They don't even try to go after the people that started. They just go after the people that have to finish it. I'm not gonna stop coming back out here. I'm gonna come out here every day until either the National Guard comes out here, the feds come out here, or these people get sick of seeing our faces out here.
Okay, Allen was arrested last night because he was previously ordered to stay 200 feet away from the ICE building. This morning, a judge released him from jail, again telling Allen to stay at least 200 feet away from the building. We'll see if it sticks this time. As of today, Portland police has made a total of 47 arrests in the South Waterfront since the nightly protests began in early June. Meanwhile, the feds told us yesterday that they've made 179 arrests around the ICE building since June. 31 of those arrested by the feds are actually facing federal charges, meaning fewer than 1 in 5 federal arrests around the ICE building actually lead to federal charges. As we mentioned earlier, a ruling from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is expected any time now on whether it will overturn the lower court's decision temporarily blocking the deployment of the National Guard troops in Portland. Okay, Kyle Aboshi is near the ICE facility for us tonight. Kyle, the hearing ahead of the looming decision was Thursday morning, so get us up to speed on what happened.
And Blair, before we get into serious matters, if you'll indulge me for just 1 second, let me set the scene because it is a festive scene out here. There are a lot of costumes, a lot of music, some dancing, in stark contrast to the federal agents that are on top of the building watching all of these people in costume tonight. As to the serious question that you asked about the Ninth Circuit, they did have that hearing yesterday. About an hour long, the 3-judge panel peppered the lawyers involved. The appellate court considering whether to overturn a lower court's order temporarily blocking the National Guard from coming into Portland. The state of Oregon arguing that President Trump does not have the authority to deploy the National Guard because it's not a rebellion and also is not needed because local law enforcement has the situation under control. The feds counter with the president does have the right to do so and needs to do so.
Okay, so Kyle, if the court decides to throw out the temporary restraining order, walk us through what we expect to happen next.
Well, in theory, that clears the way for the deployment of the National Guard, and we know they're already staged. According to the governor, there are roughly 200 at Camp Rylea out in Warrenton of the Oregon National Guard, and then at Camp Withacombe in Happy Valley, there are roughly 200 California National Guard ready to go. We've been told their mission essentially is to protect federal buildings, primarily the immigration office here in South Portland, but what that looks like is not yet clear.
And as we wait that ruling here at home, we understand there's been a development in Illinois regarding the president's plan to deploy the National Guard to Chicago.
Indeed, a significant development. Yesterday, a federal judge in the Northern District of Illinois issued a 14-day temporary restraining order blocking the deployment of the National Guard, similar to what we've seen here in Oregon. Judge April Perry saying the National Guard, quote, only add fuel to the fire that the defendants themselves, meaning the federal government, have started, end quote. The White House overnight blasting that ruling, saying, quote, President Trump has exercised his lawful authority to protect federal officers and assets, end quote, referring to the ongoing immigration raids in Chicago that have prompted a series of protests. The Trump administration is appealing that ruling, similar to what has happened here in the state of Oregon, although Illinois is obviously a few days behind in that legal process.
Kyle, if the judges here in the Ninth Circuit rule a certain way, will that set some kind of precedent for the case in Illinois?
Probably not, in all likelihood. I mean, these are separate cases. This is specific to the temporary restraining order that was issued here in Oregon. So in all likelihood, treated as two very different cases.
Okay, Kyle Aboshi in South Portland for us tonight. Kyle, thank you.